4,500 years, the pyramids of Egypt have stood in the desert like stone giants, silent, patient, and impossibly enduring. Long before modern engineering, long before computers, cranes, or even iron tools, ancient builders raised structures so precise, so massive, and so mathematically aligned that even today, we cannot replicate them with the same blend of scale, accuracy, and speed. How were they built? Who planned them? And why do they still feel like an unsolved mystery? Today, we're diving deep into the theories, mainstream, alternative, and everything in between, to explore how the ancient pyramids were really built. To truly understand the pyramids, we must first imagine the world before they existed. A world around 2600 BCE, during Egypt's Old Kingdom. No wheels for heavy loads. No iron tools. No pulleys. Just copper chisels, wooden sledges, and thousands of workers living along the Nile. But Egypt had something more powerful than machines. A massive, centralized government, a culture obsessed with the afterlife, and an endless river delivering stone from quarries hundreds of miles away. Egypt wasn't just building tombs, they were building eternity. The earliest pyramids didn't even look like pyramids. Before the famous smooth-sided forms, Egypt had mastabas, flat rectangular tombs resembling giant stone benches. Over generations, these evolved. Enter Djoser, a pharaoh with an ambitious vision, and Imhotep, the genius architect who many consider the world's first engineer. Their invention, the step pyramid of Saqqara, the ancestor of all pyramids. This new form proved something profound. Egypt could build upwards. Egypt could reach for the heavens. And Egypt could mobilize tens of thousands of workers toward a single monumental goal. The stage was set for something far greater. Now we arrive at the reign of Khufu, around 2580 BCE, the man credited with building the Great Pyramid of Giza, the largest and most iconic pyramid in the world. Let's pause and appreciate the scale. Originally 146 meters tall, 2.3 million stone blocks, many weighing between 2 and 20 tons, perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions. Base level accurate to within a fraction of a degree. Even today, with laser equipment and modern tools, building with this degree of precision would be a massive challenge. Yet Khufu's architects accomplished it with nothing more than copper chisels, manpower, and knowledge passed down through generations. At least, that's what the mainstream theory says. But before we explore the alternative ideas, let's break down the most widely accepted explanation of how the pyramids were built. For decades, the prevailing theory has relied on three main components. 1. Tens of thousands of laborers. 2. Stone quarries and sledges. 3. A massive ramp system. This model suggests that stones were quarried, placed on wooden sledges, dragged across the desert, and then hauled up ramps to the upper layers of the pyramid. Sounds simple, until you consider the numbers. Dragging a 10-ton stone block up a long ramp is no small feat, especially without wheels or advanced tools. And the ramp itself would have needed enormous amounts of material, possibly more than the pyramid itself. Egyptologists debate which style of ramp was used. 1. The straight ramp theory. A single giant ramp leading up the face of the pyramid. Problem: as the pyramid grew taller, the ramp would have to grow enormously long and wide, stretching for kilometers. 2. The zigzag ramp theory. A ramp that wrapped around the pyramid in switchbacks. This solves the size problem but introduces another. It would block visibility of the pyramid's edges, making precise alignment nearly impossible. 3. The internal ramp theory. Proposed by architect Jean-Pierre Houdin. This suggests a hidden ramp spiraling inside the pyramid's outer layers. Ingenious, and evidence may support it, including unusual voids and temperature anomalies detected by modern scans. But even if one or more of these ramp systems were used, would that truly explain the astonishing precision and speed of construction? Maybe, but the story is far from settled. For generations, movies and myths convinced people that slaves built the pyramids. But archaeology tells a very different story. Near the Giza Plateau, researchers uncovered workers' villages, bread ovens and bakeries, medical facilities, rotating labor teams, graffiti naming worker crews such as the Friends of Khufu. These findings reveal that the pyramid builders were paid laborers, not slaves, skilled workers, artisans, and seasonal farmers who contributed during the Nile flood season, when their fields were underwater. This was a national project, a symbol of power, religion, and unity. The question now shifts. If the manpower was there, what about the engineering? Because even with tens of thousands of workers, many aspects of the pyramids seem almost supernaturally. The Great Pyramid is aligned to true north within 3/60 teachs of a degree. Even modern compasses struggle with that level of accuracy. Its sides differ in length by less than 5 centimeters. The base is so level that modern contractors study it in disbelief. Then there are the interior chambers, the Grand Gallery, the King's Chamber, the relieving chambers above it. These rooms involve tight-fitting stone blocks placed dozens of meters above the ground, many weighing up to 80 tons. How did ancient builders raise and position stones that heavy? Copper tools aren't strong enough for granite. The hardest granite inside the pyramid would have eaten through a copper chisel almost instantly. Yet the precision of the cuts, some so smooth they look machine-made, suggests techniques far more advanced than we usually credit ancient societies for. This is where the mystery deepens. Because mainstream theories explain the general process, but not the fine details. This is where alternative theories come into play. Let's explore T. The 5 most popular alternative explanations. We're not claiming any of these are true, but they're fascinating, and they highlight areas where traditional archaeology still struggles for answers. 1. Advanced ancient technology. Some researchers propose that ancient Egyptians possessed lost technologies, superior stone-cutting tools, advanced surveying systems, maybe even machinery powered by forces we don't understand. Evidence sometimes cited includes drill marks with spiral patterns, saw cuts too smooth for copper tools, precision joints with tolerances under a millimeter. Could ancient Egypt have mastered techniques that simply didn't survive in the archaeological record? It's possible. 2. Geopolymer concrete theory. Proposed by materials engineer Joseph Davidovits, this theory claims the blocks of the pyramid weren't carved, they were cast. According to this view, limestone was dissolved into a slurry, mixed with local minerals, poured into molds to form blocks, essentially early concrete. While controversial, some block samples do show unusual microstructures not typical of quarried stone. If true, this would solve the weight problem, the transport problem, the precision problem, but mainstream Egyptologists remain unconvinced, citing lack of widespread evidence. 3. Water flotation and canals. Some theories suggest that water was used to move blocks. Canals built from the Nile to the construction site. Water basins used to float stones part of the way. Hydraulic systems for lifting. Interestingly, new discoveries show that the Nile once flowed closer to the pyramids, supporting at least part of the idea. But floating a 20-ton block requires huge amounts of buoyancy and engineering skill. Could they have done it? Possibly, but no direct evidence survives. 4. The power of sound or vibrational levitation. This theory is more acoustic resonance bordering on unknown energy fields, but extremely popular with minimal force. It suggests while there's no scientific proof for this, proponents argue that ancient temples show unusual acoustic properties. Carved bowls, sound vessels, and resonant chambers hint at sonic knowledge. Again, fascinating but unproven. 5. Extraterrestrial assistance. The most sensational theory claims aliens helped construct the pyramids. This idea survives mainly because the scale is enormous, the precision is extraordinary, the astronomical alignments are uncanny, but there is zero archaeological evidence to support extraterrestrial involvement. Everything at Giza, from the workers' camps to the tools found on site, points to human ingenuity. One of the most compelling mysteries is the astronomical precision encoded in the pyramids. They are aligned to true north with minimal error. They match the layout of the 3 stars in Orion's belt, According to the Orion correlation theory, the descending passages point to specific stars important in ancient Egyptian mythology. The Egyptians weren't simply building tombs, they were creating cosmic machines. Layouts that connected earth, sky, and spirit. To understand how they achieved these alignments, modern researchers believe they used shadow measurements, solar observations, star risings,